From the violent realistic OVAs, the unmatched dark fantasies, to the abundant pro-police series, the anime of the 90s had many trends, including one of my favorites,
space.
And some of you may have grown up with these Toonami bumpers that had snippets of an anime.
A boy has the right to dream. There are endless possibilities stretched out before him.
But what weird anime was all this from? And yes, before you make that comment, yes, it was weird. But it was something special, starring a scrappy cast of wisecracking,
Hey, for a wimp, I made pretty good money off of him.
edgy,
Maybe sell your body?
Yours would sell better.
sharply drawn, wide-eyed 90s anime characters, with the voice of Jet Black narrating every episode.
Once a boy becomes an adult, he can no longer go back to being a boy.
And some of the best hand-painted cell backgrounds of space from this era. Oh, and spaceships that did hand-to-hand combat. This is... While the sassy, sarcastic script had a Western influence, it is definitely a product of the 90s.
Get you later!
Oh, jeez! Starwind! You scumbag!
The futuristic space setting across multiple planets still holds up today, with the occasional English, and I do believe that the production stands up to the level of other Sunrise anime at the time, like Cowboy Bebop. If you've never seen this anime, I think you're in for something really different.
Have faith in me, guys. Enjoy the ride. You're in good hands.
Out of the hundreds of series I've watched, this one had stuck with me the most, and this is why.
Let's roll! Didn't I tell you to check it over before you left?
Welcome back, I'm Dusk, but you can call me Koala. Today we're going to go over one of the best anime to come out of the 90s, Outlaw Star, a 1998 anime from Sunrise that isn't really talked about as much since its release and subsequent airings in North America. Even in Japan, there isn't much fanfare, but it is a story of adventure and overcoming your fears, and doing something greater than yourself. Sounds like a typical shonen, and while anime of the early 90s celebrated and promoted law enforcement, this series focused on the opposite, the Outlaws, a romanticized version of treasure hunting through space. Each planet having its own distinct feel but semi-futuristic cyberpunk setting. Yes, they have flying cars. Against pirates. Not those pirates, these pirates. In a genre that can only be classified as space opera or space western, kind of like another series from Sunrise that same year. In Japan, the series is known as Sekibokyo Outlaw Star, translating to Starwind Warrior Knight Outlaw Star, because as great as this series was, does it have a lasting legacy like its contemporaries Cowboy Bebop or Trigun? Or is it just another forgotten 90s space anime that's obscure even in Japan? We won't go over everything that happens in the story.
Rachel is purely a fictitious name.
But that's only because you're going to want to watch the series by the end of the video, or watch it again.
Do you realize you're threatening Gene Starwind? That's right. Come on!
Who is Gene Starwind? Every 90s anime has a cool hero, and Outlaw Star has one of the best who's a bit more fleshed out than Spike Spiegel.
Playtime's over!
He actually has a family.
Gene, what do you say? Are you gonna go up into space with your old man or not?
Or at least one relative. Gene Starwind is an outlaw. Well, he kind of becomes one after accepting the bodyguard job from Hot Ice Hilda, a known outlaw. As a child, Gene was traumatized by the idea of going to space, due to his father being space exploded as their small transport ship was attacked. Since then, he's been living on Sentinel-3, a modern cyberpunk city that's essentially Tokyo, where Gene has grown up and does odd jobs, mostly being a bodyguard and a bounty hunter. Hey, just like another anime. One of the most fleshed out characters of this era, he has the witty humor of a 90s comic book hero that always talks back.
I guess your cherry's officially popped now.
All right, drop it. I'm fine. You got it? Unless you want to make something of it.
Full battle scars, and tattoos that will get him banned from public Japanese baths, and one of the most iconic anime weapons. Well, iconic if you're already aware of the anime, the caster gun, that uses magic shells with different effects, but more on that in a bit. Unlike most conservative Japanese people, Gene has the attitude of shoot first and ask questions later. And the most subtle way to convey his coolness is by making sure the audience knows that this guy
So, you've got a lot of tricks up your sleeve, I see.
in the manga and promotional magazine art with Hilda,
Sometimes you just want to feel the warmth of another body.
possibly with the waitress,
You sweet thing.
I'll tell you who's the sweet talker, you.
Oh, and who are you?
and eventually with the character Mopina on the cover of the final volume.
Melfina.
but that he's also not good with space.
Then Jean's just a space cherry.
I ain't a cherry. My first time was just way too young, that's all.
As I keep mentioning Gene's space cherry,
Would I get anything out of it? A cherry isn't worth my time.
I ain't a cherry.
I didn't know what this innuendo meant as a kid, good for me.
Oh, you can't perform? Oh, sorry you can't perform. That's too bad.
And the internet's opinion of Gene was pretty high, even in the US. At the time, you would see lots of posts on forums of who would win between Gene and Spike Spiegel. Sometimes they would include Goku. Personally, I think it would be a draw between Gene and Spike, as they would both be really matched. But if Gene, however, used the number 9 caster shell, it would be over for Spike. Comment below if you disagree. The caster gun Gene carries is an ancient weapon of legend in the series. The universe has actual magic along with its advanced technology. The caster gun was created to use the mana gathered in its shells, as regular casters or wizards could no longer harness the depleted natural mana of the planet. These weapons are so stupid powerful that they can nullify the magic used by the magical pirates, and can only be cancelled out with another caster. So the odds of that happening would be slim, which is a really cool thing to add because the mana used in Outlaw Star has some history to it, with Gene also inheriting, found, stole, here it's all the same thing, a secret ship that has the code name the XGP that was hiding in the sun. These are the kind of plot points that make 90s adventure anime fun. Not only is the ship a grappler, which means it has arms that you wish were in a Crane game, but it was also made in collaboration with the Space Federation, which are the police force of space, and the pirates. That's bigger than any brand collab we'll ever see.
I'm calling it the Outlaw Star.
But Gene renames and registers the XGP the Outlaw Star, the title of the anime, because he's an outlaw now and his name is Starwind. Kind of obvious. And painting it red to match his hair because vanity. But it looks really cool, kind of like another Bandai ship. While we're on the subject of the XGP, it's not only the coolest ship that every pirate wants to get their hands on, but because of its connection to the Galactic Layline, a location that will ultimately be the goal of the story. Think of the Outlaw Star as a ship to get to the Grand Line and the One Piece. The only difference is sea space, and it doesn't take the series over 20 years to get there. The series has an expanded history within its universe, which is kind of cool when you really get into it, especially if you're a fan of sci-fi. There was an asteroid that crashed into China containing Dragonite, which had minerals that made light speed travel possible due to how Dragonite released energy. That made my brain stop functioning more than any science class trying to write that sentence, leading to many countries participating in a modern gold rush across the universe to find more Dragonite, encountering alien civilizations along the way, with the lawlessness of space leading to what people do best, crime. So we had space pirates, space thieves, space outlaws, space cowboys, with the newly established Earth Federation establishing 4 empires. What could go wrong? They all fought for power, and the Chinese space pirates setting the trend of adding grappler arms to ships. The frontiersmen that first took to space terraformed the other planets so they were just like Earth, and in between the vast distances were space stations. Blue Haven is the one being prominently featured in the series, and I wish the location was explored a bit more than it was, but this space station is super important. It's where Fred Lowe lives.
I'm so very happy you came to see me.
A wealthy man who fancies Gene and funds a space adventure. Because you know, owning this car is expensive. Imagine the fuel and parking fees of a spaceship, and paying to have it fixed up after battling pirates. He's basically Gene's rich sugar daddy.
My name is Melfina.
Yes, pleased to meet you.
Blue Haven is a neutral station where no weapons or fighting is allowed due to how delicate the station is. And if the structure is damaged, it would in turn kill everyone on it.
If a stray cracked a seal somewhere and the air escaped, everybody who lives here would go straight to heaven.
The depth put into the series makes it something that you really appreciate later on, kind of like regular fantasy novels. The fixed star era takes place even before the Towards the Star era during the 20th century. People were exploring the current solar system, and the planets of Venus and Mars were established for people to live on them. During this timeline, the planet's mana, which was used to power weapons and spaceships. And there's not much on this era.
Oh, that hurts. Please stop doing that to me.
You're surprised?
The cast of the Outlaw Star stands out because the designs are fun and have a good balance of unique and practical. Sort of. And they definitely stand out more than the designs of another anime. I think what makes Gene's crew on the Outlaw Star work is that their personalities are polar opposites of each other, which in anime causes chaos but works really well.
Who are you calling an animal?
While she's not part of Gene's crew, she certainly was the catalyst into every event in the series.
To stay here is death. To go is dead.
Hot Ice Hilda, despite how she sounds in the dub, she's only 21, which I didn't know till just a few days ago, and an outlaw, who stole the XGP from the Kei Pirates, because after killing one of their leaders, they took her eye, of course. So, as an act of revenge, Hilda took the ship and Melfina. While hiding from the pirates on Sentinel-3, she takes the disguise of Rachel, who hires Jean to be her bodyguard, and after making the contract, they are quickly found by the pirates and escape, with Hilda revealing her true identity.
Rachel is purely a fictitious name. The part about me needing a bodyguard, however, is real.
And later, upon reaching the XGP, Hilda has no choice but to sacrifice herself to not only kill the pirates, but to allow Jean and the others to escape in the XGP.
Outlaws never go down easy, no matter what happens to them.
As her impact is felt throughout the series, even selling the idea to Jean to live as an outlaw,
It's just like it is with the stars. There are bright ones and there are those that are dim.
which he somehow takes very seriously.
How'd you like to find out?
Jean's partner in crime is Jim Hawking, a boy genius who is a hacker, mechanic, housewife, business partner, and Jean's right hand, making him one of the most loyal BFFs in anime.
I'm supposed to be the brains of this outfit.
While he's presented as being more mature than Jean at times,
Oh, she's safe and sound. I'll never leave you, baby.
he has moments where he realizes that he's still a child, and he gets almost no actual help from the rest of the crew around him, which is actually pretty funny.
Don't treat me like I'm a kid. Quit it. But you are a kid.
Melfina is a biological android,
Why was I made? Who made me? And what did they make me for?
so not like Aegis from Persona 3 that is all robot, whose history is intertwined with the Outlaw Star itself as its navigator. During the American broadcast, she had to be censored while navigating the ship, which is one of the things that makes the anime memorable, or at least the first time you watch it uncensored. Because of Jean's will to protect Melfina, he makes a promise to find the Galactic Layline and find out about Melfina's past.
I'd rather eat shit.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
You'd rather eat shit?
No, I mean, I guess so.
And it's actually not pretty, with Jean ultimately becoming close to Melfina as his love interest. But the whole finding Melfina's past causes the crew to set off on an adventure to find the Galactic Layline, because you know, she's just so nice.
I've never seen a ship like this before. It won't move unless you're naked. Oh, that's very kinky, wouldn't you say?
And along the way, they pick up Suzuka and Aisha Clan. Twilight Suzuka is an assassin, an Ultra Class A assassin, which is a rank made up for the anime. Despite the fact that she uses a wooden sword, the name Twilight predates Twilight from the family show and the books. She gets the nickname for giving her targets till sunset to get their affairs in order.
For just another 5 minutes, you may feel free to take the time to write out a farewell letter to say your goodbyes.
Before she comes back and kills them, she's sent on a job to kill Fred Lowe, who you know by now is Jean's sugar daddy. What's impressive is that Jean actually can handle Suzuka. After overpowering and defeating Suzuka because Jean is a man and he's written that way, the contract to kill Fred is dropped, and eventually she joins the crew because of the grudge she has against the pirates, which is also a part of her backstory. In the dub, she's voiced by Wendy Lee, who's also Faye Valentine in Cowboy Bebop.
You are a coward, aren't you?
See, they both have lots in common. Aisha Clan, get it? It's almost like Nyan, but it's alien, because she's a Kataro, a cat humanoid alien that's very territorial. Who would have guessed? Along with superhuman strength, they can transform into a full big cat. Coming from an affluent family within their own planet, Aisha is given the rank of an ambassador within the Kataro military to find information on the Galactic Layline, which she is pretty bad at and is kicked out for having an encounter with Hilda. By the time she meets Jean, Hilda is already dead.
What did you say?
And eventually she joins the crew of the Outlaw Star by practically inviting herself, because it was the 90s and cats and cat-like behavior in anime was super trendy.
Ah!
But Aisha's addition as the comic relief and most unique designs is part of what helps the crew feel more fleshed out come the final battle.
Jean, it's them! The pirates!
The Kei Pirate Guild are Chinese pirates in space that can wield Tao magic. Tao magic in this universe is an ancient Chinese form of using a person's own chi through chanting and hand gestures that looks like praying.
No way.
The monster of the week in Outlaw Star are actually the Kei Pirates that are higher in rank with their own unique skills known as the Anten 7. They also have these robot minions that look really cool and are super nostalgic to look at. Usually Jean is able to defeat them with his caster, but the most dangerous of them is Lord Hazanko, the leader of the 108 Stars Pirate Guild, which is the strongest of the 4 guilds. I don't think the others are ever mentioned in the anime, but the hierarchy that exists is one of those details that probably flew over many young viewers' heads, with Hazanko himself funding Gwen Khan's project to find the Galactic Layline. We'll talk more about him in a bit, but with their connections, they enlisted the help of the Space Forces to build the XGP, with Hanzo's goal to find the Leyline and wish for ultimate power that is beyond that of the Tendo King, who is the absolute leader of the Kei Pirates, and who his uncle wishes to overthrow through the Galactic Layline.
In the name of the Unten, you must seal Gene Starwind's fate.
Aside from the Kei Pirates, the crew have to worry about another threat in the McDougal brothers. Younger brother Harry and older brother Ron, who pilot a ship named the El Dorado, that is also a grappler ship, like the Outlaw Star, Harry being a bio-android like Melfina, and Ron being a villain straight out of an anime like Armitage. Harry being a bio-android allows him to connect to Melfina in cyberspace. It's more Tron than anything.
You're hurting me, Ron! Stop!
While Ron is an extremely dangerous mercenary with a reputation. Look at his face. As throughout the series, they are hired by the Federation, yes, the police, to destroy the XGP, and by the end team up with the Space Pirates. And what makes Ron formidable is that he too carries a caster weapon that can negate Gene's attacks, because what are the odds? We also learned that the El Dorado was a ship that was responsible for the attack that killed Gene's father, making him one of the biggest pieces of shit in the galaxy.
I don't think I'm gonna miss this time.
Now this is what makes Outlaw Star a good space opera.
Oh, Harry, what have they done to you?
Dr. Gwen Khan is a scientist who's only interested in finding the Galactic Layline, and who is responsible for creating Melfina and the XGP as part of the Keyline project, the collaboration I mentioned earlier between the Kei Pirates and the Space Forces. Kinda sounds illegal on the part of the Space Forces. Either way, his ultimate goal is infinite knowledge of the universe that may be in the Leyline. He was part of the excavation team that would find clues of the Leyline on the planet called Grave of the Dragon, and he confronts Gene and the crew after seeing them participate in the Heifeng space race with the stolen XGP. It's kinda hard to hide a spaceship that you built. He becomes a lot more important later on as one of the main antagonists.
Leyline Project Command input. It was you who broke my Mason plate.
Melfina?
He's also able to shut down Melfina with a code.
I was the one who created a control system and commands from the beginning. I have now suspended her personality.
Hey! Who rules?
O'Doyle rules! O'Doyle rules! O'Doyle rules!
The Galactic Layline is the ultimate goal of Gene and the pirates. Planet hopping across the galaxy and following clues leads the crew to actually making it, and it does not disappoint.
So that's it, the heart of the Galactic Layline.
The animation colors with the atmospheric soundtrack make the location feel very ancient and sacred.
Yeah, I got your desire.
As the Galactic Layline is rumored to be the place where you can have any wish you desire, and simultaneously contain all the information in the universe. A library of the universe that was made by an alien race that has long since died. There's even an AI running the place that's called the Maiden of the Leyline, who is the one granting wishes. And this blend of mystical magic and technology is something that almost never works in most stories, but in Outlaw Star it fits the narrative so well that it's almost seamless.
What is thy desire?
And it doesn't feel like it's out of place. After the Leyline has been found, it has the ability to relocate itself as it's a self-aware entity. But unfortunately for Gene, the pirates, the McDougals, and Gwen Khan have followed them into the Leyline. And yes, we get some of the best battles in an anime finale. Aisha fights one of the pirates, Suzuki gets revenge on the pirate who killed her family, and Gene has one final confrontation with Ron McDougal in a caster versus caster battle that forces Gene to use his trump card.
For your information, that shell I just fired was a number 9.
A number 9?
A number 9 caster shell that's capable of creating a black hole. My only gripe with this is that Ron somehow survives, most likely to return in a planned sequel, leading to Hazanko finding the maiden first and wishing for power. He probably should have been more specific.
Go to her, Gene, and listen to the beautiful song she sings.
A song?
But the final battle between Gene and his uncle begins, ultimately ending in a draw in which the two kill each other. And this image of a dead Gene traumatized me, as it's how part 1 of the episode ends. While being dead in the Leyline, Gene and his uncle enter the Tron cyberspace of the Leyline, where Melfina is able to give Gene what he wants, which is Melfina herself. And with the power of this library, Gene is revived and is sent back to the Outlaw Star, as they are confronted by this now Star Fox 64 Andros version of Hazanko in one last battle, with Melfina free from the Leyline and the Doctor deciding to stay behind. Returning home to Sentinel-3, Gene gets arrested and is released. Everyone is back on the Outlaw Star, and they set off to a brand new adventure. sadly without us. While there was a spin-off Angel Links that follows the Federation officers from one of the episodes, I haven't watched it yet. Being in the same universe is fine, but it's not the same characters I want to watch. But I'll give it a try and possibly make a short in it one day.
Don't worry, I haven't forgotten.
Now there was a planned sequel, Sword of Wind, where Jean gets another ship called the Sword of Wind, with concept art available, but without the Outlaw Star as the main ship, it's not Outlaw Star. Reasons for cancellation range from financial to lack of interest, to Angel Links not doing so well. From what we know, the story would have been Jean going on a rescue mission to save Fred Lowe in the Sword of Wind, without the crew and the ship we've grown attached to. A sequel manga by Takehiko Ito, titled Outlaw Star 2 Retaliation, was supposed to be in the works, but nothing more than concept art was ever shown, leaving the idea of both sequels to have been abandoned. While it's sad that we won't get any more Outlaw Star, I think the anime we did get is one of the best space adventures ever animated. While the story includes cliches of the 90s, the universe and the character designs are more than enough that keep the series in the minds of those that watched it. Limited streaming rights have hindered more people from discovering the series, but that's why videos like these exist. If you've seen Outlaw Star, then show it to a friend who's never seen it. See if they like it. Don't gatekeep it. We need to keep these anime from being forgotten, because these series have a unique look into the fantasy future of adventure and space.
A boy has the right to dream, for those endless possibilities are stretched out before him.
Thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, go ahead and like the video. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. If you're already subscribed, hi. While you're here, binge some of the shorts. They're pretty fun to watch and a lot of work goes into them. And I'll see you on the next video, or on Twitch when I feel like it. Bye. This one took so long, but Outlaw Star is my favorite anime, and I wanted to do it right. I literally have Jean's tattoo on my left arm. It's funny though, I thought it would stretch when my arm got bigger, and it didn't. I'm working on a rebrand, and this channel is going to change. I wish I could show you the concept art I've been working on, but it's going to be so worth it if I leave it a surprise. Okay, I'm done. My throat's kind of dry. Okay, bye.